Hello, Serge here from the back porch. We have a good, I guess, answer to a blog question, but I'm not going to say who the person is because there's references in here to family, and so I think it would be wiser to not put this person on the spot. But I think what he says is such good points and statements that I think this would be great for all of us. So without identifying the writer of this, I'm going to go in and say that he's answering somebody else's blog, and he says, I find that if you increase speed at impact, then the finish has to happen naturally due to the force created. Good comment, good point. I guess he's answering somebody about somebody who had a problem of accelerating through impact. So he's saying if you increase your speed, which is what has to happen, right? The physics of impact is the club has to approach the ball on the aiming line, strike it on the line and be square, leave on the line accelerating and hit it solid in the sweet spot while doing the first three. And that goes for everything from putting all the way to driving. And so, if you increase speed at impact, then the finish has to happen naturally due to the force created. That's somewhat true. We can still, even after, if it's accelerating, we can still cut it off like knockdown shots that some people have problems getting to their finish, and we've addressed that recently in some dailies about people not being able to get to the finish. So I still think we still have to focus on the thought of accelerating through into the forward catcher's mitt and swinging up and standing up to the tee finish. So if the tee finish is not happening, could the problem be more of a case of swinging that is too casual? Absolutely. I mean, I've seen it quite a bit, and when I take my swing right to some of the lessons, and especially to lessons in golf schools, I see that I get some people, we find their number, and they make the swing right fire at impact once, maybe twice, but it's amazing how many can't even make it fire twice. So what does that tell us? Even when we find a good number for them, their mind and their body has not generated the proper speeds to make that happen every time. And you should be able to do it in 1 or 2 or 3 swings in a row. I mean, I imagine if you stood here and tried to do it 20 times in a row, you might start getting tired. But that should not be the case. So what that means is that in many cases, I think we don't set up with the club in our setup and with our grip pressure in our muscle tone, especially in the grip, the forearms, the arms, and the body, are not athletically ready enough, not engaged, not energized enough to consistently keep making the correct speed swing. And as we know, as clubs get longer, you have to be a little bit more ready, a little bit more energized and engaged, because a longer club, which is therefore a little heavier, needs more energy to swing it through. And so we have to figure all that stuff out. But the big key is that we have to swing energized and accelerate through to the finish. And so that has to be built into our psyche. But then this writer goes on to say something really important. He says, my father-in-law cannot do a finish at all, and I can see that it is in his swing. It looks like he is hitting the ball by stunning it and not just swinging through the ball as if it wasn't there. Again, we're talking about stunning it means he's probably trying to hit it, as some people say to me, I'm trying to make sure I hit it solid. I'm just trying to make good contact. You can't worry about that. All you can do is swing the club. If you have a good setup and you make a good swing and everything is correct, just swinging through, you should hit the ball correctly. And so you cannot really hit successful shots by trying to just swing smooth or hit the ball solid or make good contact. You have to swing it all the way up to that tee finish. So that's another good point. But this is a great one that's coming to now. Again, this gentleman's talking about his father-in-law. He says he knows he cannot finish, as he always mentions that my 8-year-old son does 2 things that he has never mastered, and the finish being one of them. But he is unwilling to change, and when trying something different will quickly revert as it feels different. So here we got a big problem. I mean, if you're telling yourself or have yourself convinced that you can't finish, it's not going to happen. I mean, we have to stay positive. And one of the things I hear a lot from a lot of golfers, but especially seniors, because as soon as I say this old adage, you're going to understand where it comes from. I've heard people say many times, and especially seniors, as I said, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And so that's their excuse for saying that I'm too old to change. I'm stuck in my ways. I'm stuck in my bad habits. And that, I think, is a bunch of hogwash. It's baloney. It's negative thinking, and all that is basically an excuse to not work on it harder in some cases, but in other cases, even not being an excuse, it's the thing that's holding you down. That's like having a chain around your neck or tied to an anchor with an anchor back there, and it's just, you're trying to move it, it's just dragging you along. It won't let you go. You got to get rid of that anchor. And so the key here is that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I got a statement for that. I got a surgeon for that, and it says the only dog you can't teach a new trick to is a dead dog. So as long as you're living and breathing and you take a positive attitude and you want to change, you can change. And I don't care how old you are. We've recently had dailies on here, on the daily videos where I've read things from golfers is in their low 80s to high 80s, and even one we had once from a man 92 years old working on his golf swing. They got positive attitudes. They know that you can teach any dog, as long as he's living and breathing, new tricks if the dog is willing to learn. And so the key is that is the ultimate of negative thinking. That's as bad or worse, probably worse, than standing here like so many golfers say, and they're standing on a tee or on any shot, and they're looking out there and they're saying, oh, don't pick your head up. Oh, don't do this, don't do that. Oh, don't pull the ball into that left bunker, and especially don't pull it worse than the left bunker, farther left than that, because that's out of bounds. You can't play golf with negative thoughts. As I once had a sports psychologist tell me, don't think of an elephant. As soon as you say, don't think of an elephant, the biggest thing that pops in your mind is the biggest elephant you've ever seen. And so you can't don't do something. So all we can do is stay ultimately really positive, and that goes to wanting to make swing changes. It won't happen if you have negative, or at least attitudes that are hindering it. And so let's start thinking positive. You decide what you want to do, and then go out there and tell yourself you can do it. Nobody else can do it for you, so it has to be you. So I have to thank this gentleman for sending in these points about again, casual swinging, as we call it. That's not going to get it. Club's not going to accelerate. And then ultimately, bad thinking won't let it happen either. So let's swing with an energized and engaged muscles, athletically ready, accelerate through the ball, and let's know what we want to do, and let's start working on it and know that we can do it if we apply our minds to it. That's the key. Think positive, and you'll swing positively, exactly the way you want to think. So engage your mind as well as your muscles, and you watch how your game is going to improve, your swing's going to improve, and you're going to start hitting better shots and shooting those lower scores. Well, that's it for the Search for today, and I'll be talking to y'all again soon.